I think the presentation is coming up. So I was talking about like how important from the manufacturing and export perspective. Um, as an Indian pharmaceutical industry, we are accounting 10% of the world's production demand. So that means India is now exporting the pharmaceutical products to more than 200 countries worldwide and accounting for 10% of its production demand, right? Now, there is one more surprising element here. Every single dose of the vaccine administered worldwide is being manufactured in the Indian manufacturing facilities. So is that so great to be part of the pharma industry, to be part of the pharmaceutical domain? And I think it's really important to know that like all the budding pharmacists who are going to be part of the industry in coming days, what I see that as a pharmacist, every single pharmacist has a dual responsibility, not only to make their career in the respective domains, but on top of that, we carry the social responsibility because we are directly responsible for manufacturing of the products and making it available to the patient for the ultimate safety and health of the patient, and therefore we carry a larger responsibility because today what we are doing, it's not only for individual benefit but for the benefit of the patient, and therefore we have extra responsibility on the shoulder to contribute to the society, to contribute to the nation, and thereby be a valuable professional in the sector. Right. By the way, if you're hearing me, I would like to know from you. You can start typing in the chat box. Do you want to know more further? If yes, say yes. Type yes. I want to see that. How many of you are interested to know further about the industry? Do you really want to know more further? Okay, I think a few of you are start typing yes. Okay, great. Priyanka, Mohammed, wonderful. Annie, great, great. So let's be very interactive. Wonderful. So what we'll do in the upcoming slide, I would going to help you to understand the further, you know, aspect about the pharma industry. In a nutshell, I will possibly spend a few seconds on this slide because we are running behind the time. The drug life cycle of the product. This is something we should understand it. In the drug discovery and the development phase is a long and risky roadmap. It takes a more than around 14 to 16 years for the discovery to happen and then the marketing of the product. So almost 14 years in the discovery and hardly you get 2 years, couple of years to do actual marketing, making the product available in the market, right? So in the initial 3 to 6 years goes into the pre-discovery phase where you work on the drug discovery, preclinical studies, screening more than 10,000 of compounds. Out of that, it goes hardly 250 for the preclinical studies. And when it comes to clinical trials, which takes around 7 years time frame in the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials, and number of volunteers involved are like around 80 in the phase 1 and around 300 for phase 2 and phase 3, which is 3000, which is the large scale of the not only the healthy volunteers, but this actually goes in the patient actually, and then after almost 2 years goes in the regulatory process of filing and getting the FDA reviewal. When you get approval, then you go for the large scale manufacturing, and ultimately you also go for the phase 4 post-marketing surveillance, right? And so that's the very important to know that this is a pretty risky phase of discovery, right? And ultimately whatever the novelty is coming out of it, it carries its own cost to it because so much of time has been spent onto it. I'm not going to cover this slide. Let me quickly go to the um, R&D development process from the generic perspective. I'm just giving the highlights so that you at least know what are the different processes are there. In the research and development from the generic perspective, there is a drug selection process happens, then pre-formulation, there is a development at the lab scale, level, and then there is a development optimizations. Whatever the formula that you have been developed, now you optimize that to a lab scale where you're going to manufacture these batches at pilot plant, at least 3 batches, and you monitor the stability of that. This is those data. You go for the pivotal biostudies and generate the stability for requisite time frame, and then you go for the exhibit batch manufacturing in the actual production plant or the pilot plant, and then is the technology transfer happens, where you also get the regulatory approval in between, and then once you get the approval, the product is ready to market in the respective regions, right? That's what's the on the top line to it. Now, I wanted to let you know that because we are part of the industry, right? And you are going to be a part very soon. So it's really important for you because this is where you're going to work out in the near future, right? So what's top 10 pharma companies? And we should know this certainly because you guys can start, making your dream, your passion, your, ambition to be part of these companies in the near days, as you going to be part of the industry. So where the number one company as of the ranking is concerned, the Pfizer stands at top one, which is again a US based company, New York based company headquartered. Novartis, Basel, Switzerland. In fact, I worked for Novartis for almost 3 years. And then the company called Roche, then Johnson and Johnson, Sanofi, Merck, AbbVie, Amgen, GSK, Bristol Myers Squibb. So these are the companies who are actually, globally renowned and actually controlling the entire market because of their contribution, because of their spread, right? So you should be targeting those companies for your career development as well. From the Indian perspective, what are those companies, top 15 companies that is, making the market share contributing a lot, right? Number one is the Sun Pharma, followed by Aurobindo, then Lupin, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, Zydus Cadila, Intas, Glenmark, Torrent. Number 10 is Mankind, then Biocon, Piramal, Hocard, Devils, and Abbott. So these are the companies who are in the top rankings, and because of there are the various parameters, these companies have been evaluated to put on this particular ranking, and majorly is the revenue basis they got the ranking, right? So these are the companies you should also be keen to work, because not only the facilities or the kind of exposure and the environment is really great, but also you will start loving working there, that's what. Now, as we know how the global pharma industry, how the generic industry and the Indian market is concerned, different segments that we also look into it, different like top 10 worldwide company, top 15 Indian pharma companies. But at the same time, we should also know how the different therapy areas are and which are those top 10 therapy areas and how they are performing. Because as you're going to be part of this industry directly or indirectly, you will be working on this one, right? And you should know, like the oncology, among the entire therapy areas, oncology is the leading in the entire, segment, because it has a great market size, great demand, and that's what it's leading the entire competition. Followed by immunosuppressant drugs, then there's a sensory organs, anti-diabetes, anti-hypertensives, vaccines, then there's MS therapies, anti-rheumatics, antivirals, and bronchodilators. So now you keep a close watch on this, since either you're going to be part of the R&D or manufacturing, or what you call the marketing, or whichever the functions that you're going to join. These are certainly, we should be keen to know how these therapies are performing, and because this is indicating us where the scope is, in terms of the pharma industries are concerned, in terms of the manufacturing is concerned, right? These are the areas companies are spending heavily in the development phase, because there is a lucrative side of it in terms of the market capitalization, right? All right, so I would like to skip a couple of slides, and okay, I think I missed one slide. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay, so one slide which specifically point I would wanted to highlight to all of you was actually uh, which are the different areas that you can make your career, and what are the different upcoming areas which is has a greater potential at the same time. I think I missed to keep that slide, but yes, definitely I can let you know that. How many of you start typing here? How many of you know which are, what all those departments are, who are the part of the industry? Which are those, departments or the functions? If you know that, you can start typing it. For example, R&D, manufacturing. You can. I wanted to see that whether you know which are the functions are the part of the industry. Yes. Okay, let me help you to understand. As a pharma industry is concerned, it's not run by one specific department. There is a cross-functional departments, which are actually working together. For example, if we talk about R&D, within the R&D, there are many departments out there. For example, from the formulation perspective, there is pre-formulation, then there is a lab scale development, then R&D, formulation development, process validation, process technology transfer. Okay, then there is some from the manufacturing area. Okay, let me cover the R&D first. So this was from the formulation side of it. From the analytical, there is a analytical research and development. Then there is a pharmacovigilance, clinical affairs, medical affairs, regulatory affairs. Okay, intellectual property management. Then quality control, quality assurance, compliance, audits, legal, HR, marketing, business development, sales and marketing. Okay, then product management, and then production, manufacturing, technology transfer, and so many departments are actually part of the industry who work together to ensure that whatever the products is being marketed or manufactured, it's actually meets the criteria and reaches to the patient ultimately. So these are the areas which we should be knowing very clearly, because you are going to be part of the industry and understanding that this, where you can focus in terms of your career. Now, as a trend is concerned, as the progressive indication is concerned, there are the new domains, new areas have been opened up. Okay, because of the various reasons, because of the especially the great demand, and you'll see that artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analysis, pharmacovigilance. Okay, um, medical writing. Okay, these are the upcoming areas where not only the pharma industry but the IT companies have started their one standalone, division which works on the healthcare technology. Okay, so these are the areas where you should also be very keen to explore this. It has a great potential to be part of. Right. Okay, so Dr. Deepa, I think
Yeah,
like everyone gets the option to choose the life they wanted to live, right? And it's all depends upon what kind of option we choose. This is that our fate would be, right? So I have a very small clip where I think everyone should know it, so that we are, thought process gets opened up. We think pretty large, and our horizons are broad in that way. So let's have a small clip. Right. So believe in yourself, and definitely the future will be of all yours, my friends. Thank you so much for patience listening. I would certainly wanted to conclude here because I can discuss much more, what are the questions that you have it. But yes, mind is just like a parachute. Okay, so it works best when it is open. So let's open our parachute. I'm sure everyone are carrying the parachute with them. So it's really important not only having those parachute with you, but you start using it actually. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And I now open the session for questions. Whoever wants to ask questions can unmute yourself. And I would like to add 2 points to this juncture because you had covered all other segments, immunosuppressants, oncology, anti-diabetic, all those things. But current growing scenario, as you know, must be the nutraceutical market is growing very, very high
Yeah.
at the rate of
Absolutely. Absolutely.
18% every year, not less than 18% every year. And as you see
Right.
now the therapy options also has shifted from food supplement than to the drugs, especially in regimens like chronic ailments and other things.
Exactly.
Food supplements are getting more attention to the public as well as the medical community, where to avoid untoward side effects of the drugs on therapy. So this is one
Very
area
true.
which I
Yeah.
wanted to
So I think,
add.
yeah, certainly, because prevention is always better than the cure, and that's what the nutraceutical playing a dominant role in that particular segment. Because uh, as everybody knows that whole world is going through the pandemic COVID-19 situation, and it's directly linked to the immunity of the individual, right? And so that's the reason now the trend has been shifted where the people earlier used to just take the medication for the treatment perspective, what are the kind of illness they are going through it, but now on people are much worried about their health. They are, rather than saying worried, they are caring about their health itself and focusing much more on the prevention side of it, and therefore working on the immunity, boosting the immunity, and the nutraceutical actually making a greater role to play in that area. And it has a tremendous great future. If you look from the marketing, the market share perspective, nutraceutical actually making a great potential, and going forward, coming forward, this nutraceutical will making a stagnant and prominent position in the entire therapy segment as well. Yeah, I think you rightly highlighted, Dr. Deepa.
Yeah, and when we see the logistics production of any product orientation, life cycle, and the growth of the company, major contribution only will be from the nootropic agents and the nutraceuticals and multivitamins
Exactly.
than the
Right,
therapy
right,
areas. So therapy areas,
right,
there will be growth, no doubt about it. But major contribution of the company's growth on the whole will be from non-therapy areas like nutraceuticals and multivitamins and nootropic agents. So I think we should really concentrate on such areas. I strongly
right.
believe that major companies have started focusing on nutraceutical adventures in
Absolutely,
the recent
absolutely.
past. And even today, I could see a lot of small scale companies coming up with beautiful formulation to enhance immunity with zinc, vitamin
Right,
C,
very true.
and they are supporting the therapy with supplements. So anything which is so
Right,
to say, it's a wonderful time. And I think what exactly they should know is been extensively covered by you. And I render my
right.
sincere thanks for the valuable time and your knowledge sharing in this platform. Any questions?
My pleasure. Yeah, I think let's get the questions from the student. It's really important. I'm open. Friends, let me tell you one thing. What are the doubts that you are carrying in your mind? Let's open up that. Here's the opportunity to get the clarity about your doubts, because ultimately you're going to make your career. So better the clarity, the better the future would be.
And I would request if you cannot ask questions, you please type the questions so it will be
Yeah, you
seen
just
by
type
us.
it. Yeah, I mean to say you can start typing it. Can you touch about the nutraceutical market? Okay, yes, I think you already covered that. Sorry, I'm just going through the chat box now. Okay, Dr. Deepa, since let the student, come up with their questions, but what I observed, since I'm participating in various conferences, especially I'm talking about this lockdown situation, many of the, professionals as well as the student fraternity, demanding to know and asking to know that where is the future going to be, because the whole world is going from the COVID-19 situation. Is there really a future, or we are there is a big question mark on the sustainability of the individual? So that was the, everybody was asking to know that one. And I would take this opportunity to clarify that point also. Let me tell you, of course, this is a tough time every single country is going through across the world. And every sector, not only the pharmaceutical industry, but the rest of the other sectors also are facing the challenges in terms of the supplies of the products, and resources crunch, the production delays, and then ultimately supplies of the product to the market, right? Because a lot of constraint, because there is a lockdown situation, you can't work in the 100% capacity. So this is that there are difficulties in day-to-day operations. But having said that, let me tell you, COVID-19 actually given a lot of hidden opportunity. If it was not there, and you will be very surprised to know that the whole world, India is the largest supplier of your PPE kits, your sanitizers, hand sanitizers, medical devices at this such a short period of time, without having pretty visibility in terms of the various operations and infrastructures across the world. India is actually leading to supply all these products, and that's what giving the opportunity to many professionals, many individual to be part of this particular segment. This is very recently kind of opportunity where uh, companies are focusing to work on this segment as well. And this is one of the opportunity. On top of that, uh, this phase is very temporary in nature, and this phase will go off absolutely in a selling time. So there is nothing to worry about what going to happen in the future. Let me tell you, the future is much more bright for everyone, because industry need the people like you, who are coming from the different background, different specialities, different mindset, different passion. So because whether you going to be part of the formulation, or let's say manufacturing, or the QA, QC, R&D, or even the marketing, industry welcomes every single professional, every single individual, because it's a cross-functional team which ensures, which makes the products reaches to the patient in safe hand. And therefore, whether you join any specific function, nothing to worry about on that side. Your future will be bright as far as you see your passion is there. The moment you see your passion, whatever the job that you do, you'll start loving that rather than just doing it. You'll start loving that part of your, it becomes part of your life in that case. So there are a lot of opportunities available to you, and I would sincerely request, not only that you, of course, you as a curriculum is concerned, you have to complete your courses, what are the courses that you are going through it, whether it's a D Farm, B Farm, M Farm, or PhD. Apart from that, industry also looks for some specialized areas, or let's say skills, that individuals should have, or let's say must have it. And you should start focusing to building those skills and making your CV absolutely unique in the market, because there is a heavy competition, it certainly, right? And how you can make your profile unique in the market, or unique in the competition, is all depends upon the kind of skills that you carry, kind of qualification that you carry, which gives the access to the industry. And therefore, for example, the budding areas, uh, like regulatory affairs, formulation development, regulatory affairs, pharmacovigilance, clinical trials, medical affairs. These are the areas even the pharmacists can get into the medical affairs. So pretty much open market. You can also think about getting the skill or knowledge about the artificial intelligence, blockchain, machine learning, artificial intelligence. On top of that, the business intelligence, okay, big data analysis. These are the areas which has a greater potential, because industry is changing, you know and therefore we need to change, because technology is the core part of the development and growth, and it's going to be a central focus for the future as well. So we need to grab those knowledge, grab those skills, and contribute a lot. This is that. Yeah.
And as you rightly pointed out, we need to differentiate our CVs. The candidate with the certificate alone is not enough. They'll have to differentiate
Right.
the caliber in terms of performance. And for that, I'm very proud to say that Savita College of Pharmacy is going to set up a practice school where they will be having hands-on experience on what the industry requires today. So industrial
Okay.
requirement is
Right.
very, very important for to match our learning capabilities to the industrial requirement. So that way we are focusing very strongly and keenly and what exactly is required by the industry. So very soon, since they are in the first year, maybe in the
Yeah.
forthcoming years, they will be having the hands-on experience and what the industry exactly requires. So they will be tuned as on requirement. So questions,
Certainly.
and since there are not any questions, I would wish that we conclude the session with this. And I once again thank you for the valuable time and knowledge sharing in this wonderful platform. And we request you to give us one more possibilities to share more knowledge, which is a treasure from your end.
Certainly, I think we can work out on that fashion to what kind of content or the information or the knowledge is required. We can work out on that. We could have a separate kind of sessions altogether, and I'm very much happy and I'm open to be part of the series of such sessions in the future as well. Because what I feel at the end is that whatever the knowledge that we carry from the industry should be shared among the budding pharmacists, because ultimately they are the future of our nation, and the growth is all depend upon what kind of skill they are going to carry along with them. So it's our responsibility to make the platform available, to make the knowledge base available for them. Let them choose and pick whatever they wanted to as per their passion, and they will be more than happy to contribute in their own career in that way. So thank you so much, Dr. Deepa, for giving such a wonderful opportunity to share the knowledge and interact with the student as well. And thanks to Savita College of Pharmacy for this wonderful assignment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a great time, Rohit. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.